two together. So.
What is that?
4 and 5. You gotta watch yourselves. A lot of people miss this one. Less than or greater than? Greater than. This one.
I couldn't figure out.
This is greater negative, yes. But that means this is a bigger number then. Would you rather be $3 1/4 in the hole or $3 1/2 in the hole? Okay. All right. So much for chapter 9. You'll still see it a lot. What you're going to see most of chapter 9 in now is like this. Which is part of chapter 10, isn't it? Can I add those two like terms? But if I said, can I add those two like terms? Are they like terms? Yes. Because they both are x first, right? And when you add them, what do? You basically add these and then just carry the x, right? What's making 1 1/2 plus 3/4? How do I do that? Well, what do I got to do first? So you got to change the mixed number to an improper fraction, and use 3/2, and then do what? Common denominator, which is? Or it's the easiest, 8 squared. This is times 2, so that's -6, and then plus 3, so what do you get for an answer? -3/4, and then you just put the x in there. So if you're not through with negative numbers, you'll just see them in a different form. Right? Okay, questions then on Homer. 49 and 52. On 1023. Oh, cow, we're into a book. You think we're ever going to get through this big old book? And 23. Actually, it's on 10 and 24. Right? Yep. 49. 49? Oh. Okay. You could have checked in the back of the book.
Yeah, I don't trust that.
I do not trust it. Alright. That's Lord. Alright, so you gotta understand that if I put a number in front of parentheses, what does that mean to do? So that's multiply, so you gotta multiply before you add or subtract, period. 4 times 2z is 8z. Now, minus z plus 4. A lot of people are not doing this right. I'll get your homework back to you. As I was going through it, 8z minus z is what? You've got to put that in as 1z. You've got to put that in. 8 minus 1 is 7z plus 4. That's 49.
37.
37, what's that? 4 times 3x?
Yeah.
That's the one?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can't do anything with it because it's not like
Well,
this,
now,
right?
be careful.
Because the 4 is outside, because you have to 4 times 3.
Like terms is when we are doing what? Adding or subtracting.
Oh,
Remember from the very first day of class, I said when you're adding and subtracting, you always do like things. This is what though? Is this going to involve adding or subtracting?
No, it's
Now multiplying. This is 4 times 3 times x. So you can do 12x. Okay?
That's
Yeah, that's easy.
I just like overthought that.
After so many different math things, you forget all the rules and you get them all mixed up. But you got to keep them straight. That's the worst thing about math, is you gotta get it straight, because everything we do today, we build on tomorrow. It's just like this problem I put up on the board. Okay? All right, 53. Just to make sure, okay, negative 11x is negative 11 times x. Y minus y minus 23. Okay. So again here, I'll divide this up. There's my 4 terms, right? Is there another x term? No. So I'm going to leave it. So that one I'm going to leave. 3y minus y. It's minus y. You got to put the 1 in there. So it's 2y. And it's positive, so you write it as plus 2y. At minus 23. So that's 2 is going to the 2y. What are like terms? Can I multiply terms? Remember, you can multiply and divide almost anything. The only thing you can't divide by is what? 0. You can't divide by 0. You can multiply and divide anything you want to. It's when you come to adding and subtracting that they have to be like. Any other questions? Nice guy. Alright, everything that we have been doing here is called an expression. An expression is just some kind of mathematical statement. Most generally in an expression, you cannot find a value, you can just simplify. You can simplify, but usually there is no value unless what? Unless you're given values to put into the expression. You cannot find any value unless you are given values in an expression. Any questions about that? Okay. Under the order of operations again, if I am finding a value, what is it that I do first? Parentheses, exponents, multiply and divide, and that's what? Left to right. And then finally, we add and subtract left to right. Now don't get this mixed up. Just because both of these are left to right doesn't mean that if I have 6 plus 3 times 4, that I go left to right. I don't do 6 plus 3. You have to follow the hierarchy as well. You look for parentheses first, then you look for exponents, then you look for multiplication and division. And it's multiplication and division left to right. And finally, this is the last thing you look for is addition and subtraction. So in an expression, you would have to do that. Agreed? All right. There is one property that became very important The one property of numbers was the distributive property. And basically it says that you are going to distribute a multiplication over additions. And I'm going to put addition or addition. Now, in general, that means that if I have a parenthesis with a number out front, you got to remember it's multiplication, and I have an addition inside. It means that you're going to take the 3 and distribute it to the x. You're going to do 3 times x, and you're going to distribute the 3 times 7. You're going to have 3 times x plus 3 times 7, which we wrote as 3x plus 21. Now, following the order of operations, I should have done parentheses first, right? But can I add x plus 7? No. So then you go on down the road. Do I have any extra? No. Do I have a multiplication? Yes, I have a multiplication. It's understood to be a multiplication. So how do you multiply this one thing times this group? And that's where the distributive property is. Okay? Now you can go ahead and write that out as 3x plus 21. Agreed? Now we're going to talk just a little bit about these operations. Alright, so I've got an operation 3 times 6. I start with 3. I'm going to multiply it times 6. And what is my product? 18. Now, how would I go from 18 back to what I started with? And what did I start with? How would I go back to my start? So in other words, when I multiply by 6, if I want to go back to the start or undo the multiply by 6, I would divide by 6, and that would put me back at the starting number, right? That makes these two